So purchasing procedure, as we all know, is a sequence of steps that are linked to identification of specific tasks within the organization. And it starts with the process of inspection up to completion of the process. So the steps are summarized there. The first step is recognition of need. Then you have selection of suppliers, placing the purchase order, follow-up of the order, receiving and inspection of materials, payment of invoices, maintenance of the records, and maintenance of the vendor relations. So the first one is recognition of need. How do you recognize a need in an organization? It must emanate from the needy section within the organization. And the needy sections are the user departments that require items for purposes of doing a certain activity or for purposes of doing its operation effectively. So once you have a need, the other thing is to fill the purchase requisition form. And this form is authorized by the head of the user department. After that authorization, it is forwarded to a store department who then do what is called issuing of the goods. There are three types of purchase requisition. Number one is the standard purchase requisition, the one that we normally use all the time. Then the second one is the traveling purchase requisition, which is normally used when you are traveling. And the last one is the bill of materials. This is a list of materials that are required to be used in a particular department. So the second step is the selection of the supplier. So once you identify the need, you must be able to look for suppliers. You must be able to search for all possible sources of supply. And that is what normally happens. And after looking for those prospective suppliers, you must come up with a short list of those suppliers. So some of the information about suppliers can be available in various sources, like the trade directories, the advertisement in trade journals, the direct mails, and what have you. Then the other thing is placing the order or purchase order. So purchase order is placed with the selected suppliers, and it indicates an official announcement of the buyer's address to be received by the specific materials that are needed in the organization. So once you generate a purchase order, the purchase order is mailed to the supplier, or you can decide to send a WhatsApp because of technology nowadays. Then the supplier must be able to confirm receipt of the order. The other step is the follow-up. Follow-up is also referred to as expediting. This is the process of tracking your order and ensuring that the supplier is going to deliver the items to you. This is one of the essential steps, and these steps gives you the surety that the supplier is going to deliver the goods as you planned in the purchase or order. Then the other thing is receiving an inspection of materials. Once the goods are delivered to your organization, they must be received and inspected. So the process of receiving an inspection is very critical because it helps you to be able to ascertain if the goods that were received were in good condition. It will also help you to ensure that you identify the damaged materials, or you identify the quantity of materials that are coming into the organization. Once the goods are in good condition, the next step is to ensure that you pay the supplier. And the next step is payment of the invoice. When the goods are received in satisfactory conditions, the invoice is checked before it is approved for payment. And the people in account are supposed to do that. Then we talk about maintenance of records. Once the materials have been received, the payment has been made, the other thing is to maintain the records. The record in this case, we are talking about the various documents that are very critical in the organization, like the invoice, like the delivery note, the purchase order, the credit note, which are very critical. Then you maintain the vendor relationship. Remember, you must be able to maintain the relationship because of future transactions with the supplier. And once you maintain that, it is important for you to develop a mutual trust from the side of the supplier so that the supplier can continue supplying to your organization.
Okay.
Any question? Any question? So the other thing we are going to talk about is matching demand and supply, matching demand and supply. So matching demand and supply is all about creating a balance between demand and supply. You're creating a balance between demand and supply by ensuring that you have the relevant materials that are very critical in the organization. So when you are talking about matching demand and supply, we basically want to understand the issue of inventory control. And inventory is the stock within a particular organization. So inventory must be controlled to ensure that you're able to maximize the use of stock in the organization. And one of the goals of inventory control is to generate maximum profit at the least amount of inventory investment. So you are investing in inventory and ensuring that what you invest in at the end of the day, you are going to get your returns on investment. Then the other thing we will talk about today is the reasons for holding inventory. Why do we hold inventory in the organization? Number one is because we want to create a balance where deliveries cannot be matched with the day-to-day usage due to fluctuation of demand and supply. So sometimes it's very difficult for you to match demand and supply in the organization. Therefore, you need to keep some stock that will help you to do that. Then the other thing is where economies of scale associated with buying or manufacturing in quantity may be more than to offset the cost of holding stock. So some people decide to hold inventory so that they can benefit from economies of scale as a result of bulk buying. Then the other one is operational risks, holding stock to guard against the risks of machine breakdown. Sometimes machines normally break down because of maybe issues of maintenance. So it is always important for the organization to be able to keep stock so that in the event the machines break down, will always ensure you are able to operate more efficiently. Then we have for work in progress, we have materials like furnitures, for example. They require a lot of drying up. So it is always important for the organization or for the employees to ensure that they keep stock. And this basically helps to ensure that in the event we have sudden demand, they'll be able to satisfy that demand. Then for finished products, we are holding a buffer stock or safety stock between production and customer is desirable. So it is always important to keep safety stock so that in the event you get unplanned demand, you'll always be able to satisfy the customers. Then the other reason is a price fluctuation, where we are talking about the issue of change in price. Some companies or some organizations want to buy items when their prices are low so that they can sell them when the prices are high. Or if you anticipate that the prices are going to be high in future, you decide to buy today so that you wait for the prices to increase. Then we also talk about in order that customers may be attracted at a wider range of products. So when you keep inventory and customers are able to get inventories at a wider range, they feel very good because they have the choice to choose from the variety that the organization has. Then we also talk about the supplier policy, where we have a policy where suppliers normally give a policy that goods are supposed to be ordered when they reach a certain level, or suppliers are going to deliver only when the order is in a certain quantity because of the extra transportation cost. Is there any question? Any question? Joseph Sante.
Yeah.
You have a question?
No.
Samuel Nguma?
No.
No question. So that is our summary for this week.
Yeah.
I've displayed the notes on the dashboard. So make sure you copy the notes so that next time when we meet, but for next week, I'll be having exams, so we'll not have the Zoom up to the other weeks now, because of exams. So after next week, we will have we will add some other minutes. Maybe we will be doing 45 minutes so that we can learn more.
Yeah.
So if there's no question, I'll stop there for today. So make sure you write the notes so that when I come next time, we shall be able to summarize everything. And in case you have any questions, always feel free to ask. And my number is displayed on the dashboard.
Yeah.
So let's meet next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.